Chaplin says in source B, question 4, in the end, Rome did not decline, it changed, as all cultures must. The Roman Empire did not fall, it transitioned and transformed through different cultures and ideas into something new. Before we can support the major question, we first have to look at some background information. The Roman Republic turned into the Roman Empire after the Second Triumvirate. The people in the Second Triumvirate were Lepidus, Augustus, and Mark Antony. Through a series of unfortunate events, Lepidus and Mark Antony died, and Augustus was able to rule individually. The Senate gave him the power he needed to be crowned emperor. After Augustus, there was a series of some not-so-good emperors, one of them being an emperor named Nero. Don't forget about him. After that time, there was 5 good emperors in a time called Pax Romana. During Roman peace, the empire grew and flourished in trade and economy. The last of these good emperors was a man named Marcus Aurelius, and during his reign, a catastrophe happened. Multiple natural disasters occurred, which made the people very nervous, and they thought it was a bad omen about something that was wrong that was coming. After that, Christianity rose with a man named Jesus. People followed Christianity because it was more personal than Roman religion, and it also fulfilled their need to belong. Christians were generally tolerant of religion unless they thought it would affect the people. But with Christianity, things changed a little bit because they were monotheistic and would not worship Roman emperor gods. So Nero was blamed for starting the Great Fire of ancient Rome, but he blamed the Christians for it, which led to conflicts. The last great persecution of the Christians was Emperor Diocletian, but by that point, the Christians were too strong and could not be defeated. Around the same time, Constantine became the first ever Christian emperor of the Roman Empire. Because Diocletian and Constantine had such opposing views, they split Rome up between the western and eastern halves. After the background information, we can take steps to answering, did the Roman Empire fall? The major question. In order to justify our answer, we first need to ask ourselves, what made the Roman conquest an empire? Question 1, source B, makes it clear that geography was very useful for unification, which helped build the empire up. Governmental structures were also important, and so were strong leaders. But the most important part was the people, because lower-class farmers also were in armies, and artisans made all the necessary material. Even the people Rome conquered supported them because of the net of protection they offered them. We can conclude that unification, strong governmental figures, and the people all build up the Roman Empire because they all have the same end goal of supporting each other and creating a strong and safe area. In order to understand if the Roman Empire did fall, we first need to see why. Question 2, source A, suggests that there was just too much land for one governing body to cover. The same source suggests that Roman arrogance and ignorance of their enemies also was a step in the process of their fall. Source B proposes that shortages in manpower were a main reason because the enlistment rates in the army were down and the people could not defend themselves the way that they once were able to. In conclusion, a number of things caused the fall/transition of the Roman Empire, and most were inevitable, but some could be changed with better leadership and better people. Now it's important to examine if the fall was an abrupt change. Question 3, source B, says that a lack of leadership after the death of the last emperor was what pushed the fall. However, Brown's resource team from source C say that they found Roman-style pottery in a place where it shouldn't have been, and they believe that the Roman Empire had lasted longer than we were led to believe, and it actually just transitioned into something completely new. In conclusion, there is a sufficient amount of proof that the Roman Empire did not decline, and it instead transitioned into something peaceful. Because there's proof that the Roman Empire did transform, we need to know to what extent did it. Question 4, source A, suggests that the threats cannot simply be narrowed down to a single thing, like the Germanic barbarians. Source B offers the idea of a moral decline, like when Christianity rose and the traditional Roman faith-believing people were disheartened because of the change in religion, and then that was the first decline in Roman culture. He then goes on to talk about cultural Roman decline, such as family systems and general customs. Many things push the cultural and moral decline of the Roman Empire and transition into something completely new. How do the supporting topics relate to the major claim? Well, it is important to look at all aspects of cultural and moral decline, including religion, function of the government, and many other things. Again, looking at Brown's research team, he provides sufficient evidence that the Roman Empire instead transitioned instead of declining into something new. And it did so peacefully instead of violently like other sources suggest. Taking informed action. Is the United States Empire rising or falling? It can be said that the United States Empire is currently at a peak in its existence. One could say that the United States is currently in its golden era, or similar to Rome, Pax Romana. We are currently in the age of new ideas and inventions, as well as the push of knowledge. While we still are in conflicts with others, so was the Roman Empire during Pax Romana. Similar to Rome, the US is still flourishing even with these conflicts and being the best they can. So, did the Roman Empire fall? No. It instead transitioned into something new and completely different through cultural and moral change.